So the next job is leaking fork seals. It's been missed in for a while, and now I got the tyre off. Might as well do it. It's quite easy when they're this far stripped down already. So I don't know if you can see in this light, but it's quite dirty and weepy. So we're going to strip them off and fit new seals. Getting the fork off, like I said, this far stripped down, it's going to be really easy. And there she goes off, that quick and easy. So what we do now is strip it. Generally most forks are the same. You have a standard fork or you have an upside down fork. There are differences in some models and makes, but generally Honda are usually all the same. X11 owners will look at this and say, it looks a bit different to an X11 fork. And that's because it is. It's a Blackbird fork that's been powder coated, because I used it quite a lot. It's got 80,000 miles on the bike, and the Welsh weather is not very good on aluminium or steel. It yeah, makes it look nasty and corrosive. So I powder coated it to help make it last a bit longer, and it's doing quite well. So with most forks, you have a bolt in the bottom which holds the damper inside, the screw in the top which holds the other end of the damper, and also the spring. Some have these protective shields to stop the stones chipping against the fork tubes and protecting the chrome, and others don't. This is slightly different. I just got a move-in front caliper, or did have. I've changed it so it doesn't move. I don't like replacing the rear discs all the time when the link system's connected and you melt the rear pads, the rear disc. So I disconnected it just for myself. The link system is very good. I think it's a brilliant idea. When I first had the bike, going into corners, just tapping the back brake or the front brake just to slow down slightly and straighten the bike up was great. I really like it. And on the Blackbird, the link system is staying on because it's brilliant at high speeds. But for messing around doing wheelies and burnouts, not a good idea. Melt the pads, melt the rear disc, and as I've converted this to a single-sided swinging arm, that can be very expensive. So we took the link system off, just made a bar to hold it steady, and it seems to have worked really well. I haven't ruined any discs yet. So we're going to strip it down, change the seals because they're weeping out of here, and put some fresh oil and fresh seals in. And the same with the other one. It's always best to change a pair, because guaranteed if you change one, 2 weeks later the other one will go and you'll be stripping it again, which you don't want to do. Once is enough. So I like to take the dust cover off because they've got a sliding hammer that will go past this to slide the seals in. But getting these off, especially when they've been on there a long time, can be a pain. WD-40 is good because it makes everything slippery. Plenty of lubrication. Always need your lubrication. Come on, baby, up you go. There we go. The cap off. Now, remove the dust seal. Some kits come with a new dust seal, some don't. So don't throw it away until you're sure that you've got one in your new kit. If you've got a Honda one, generally they come with it. And then they are only a dust seal, so it doesn't matter. Inside there's a wire clip which holds the actual seal in place, stops it coming out. There's no point me showing you because it's very small and it wouldn't get in there to see it anyway. But there you go, there's the wire clip. Just slots in into grooves in the forks leg, stops it coming out. Now there are hundreds of different ways of getting the seal out. Most are effective, but I like to take the whole damper out in one. That's not the one. The problem you've got is if you undo it with an Allen key, once it starts to loosen, it'll keep turning, and then you have to try and hold the shaft, the damper, pull it apart to stop it turning. So it is quite an awkward thing. But if you've got an impact gun, usually it spins fast enough for you to get it out. So just like that, and that way the Allen key comes out. There is usually a copper washer underneath, like that one. I don't know if you can see it, but make sure it comes out or it's still there, because when you assemble it, if the copper washer's not there, it will leak. And again, you don't want to take it apart again. So now we drain the oil out of it. Generally, the fork seal's been leaking or misting, that's the state of the oil. It stinks, contaminated with water. Pump it nice and gently, because you don't want it spraying everywhere, because it does stink. And that's most of the oil out. I say they usually take half a litre or thereabouts, and obviously that's not half a litre, so it's lost a bit of oil over time, so it's been misting a fair bit. Now, the way I was told and taught to separate the forks is to just pull them apart. some people find it difficult, or depends how old the forks are, how much paint's on them. I have a vise there which I've had to use in the past. If you're using a vise, clamp it on the brackets, make sure it's flat, make sure you use wood to hold them so you don't scratch them or break the aluminium, and then pull like buggery. So we're going to try that now. And hopefully yours will come apart just like that. Oil always stinks. So once you've got the fork apart, you have the main oil seal, which is the bugger that always leaks. You have a cap washer, that's there to hold the bush in so the bush doesn't cut into the seal. Then you have the bush, it's brass, or in some cases a phosphorus metal on the inside and the outside, as you can see. It's a nice copper colour. If your fork is moving inside the bottom of the leg, then this bush could be worn and you'll need to change it. Otherwise it'll just wear the fork seals out within a couple of hours and you'll have to put new bushes and new seals in again. So check that before you take it apart. I did check this one, and you see then there's another bush on the bottom. Same thing, if there's lots of wear marks or the fork is moving inside the bottom of the leg, then change it. It's nice and clean. Polished. Not polished. I like to give it a spray with some WD-40 just to get some of the old oil to the bottom. Try and get it in the bucket. Oh, hear the nice smell. Old fork oil. Horrible. Right, that's lovely and clean. Clean the bolt. Right, you can put this back together. There's a recess in the bottom of the fork leg. that this cap goes into. You've got to line that up before you can put the bolt in. Go straight in. And screw it down with an Allen key, because you don't want to cross thread it. Nice and tight. So this is a slide hammer. It's for putting the seals and the bushes in. A friend of mine made me a set of them out of tubes, cut down to fit, and bits welded on. Not the prettiest, but they work really well, as you'll see. Push on, slide them in. Don't forget the ring. This stops the bush coming out and damaging the seal. Slide hammer again. Make sure it's all the way down. Now we can put the seal in. Because the weather in Wales is pretty bad a lot of the time, you get bits of corrosion on the forks. To help stop the corrosion, little bits of rust, cut in through the fork seal when you put it on. A little bit of WD-40 or any nice lubricating spray. Bit of Scotch-Brite pad. Bit of Scotch-Brite pad, and just give it a good work it over. It brings up any rusty bits, and you can just rub them down, take them off without damaging the chrome. Got a few little chips and marks there. That's nice and smooth. Again, a little WD-40 helps the seal slide on. Gently press it down the fork. Slot into place. Now with a slide hammer, couple of taps and she's in place. Now we take the ring, put it back into the fork leg, small screwdriver, make sure it clicks into place. Nice click, and that stops the seal from travelling out. All that's left to do is the dust cover. Which, this is a nice smooth fit because I've had the forks powder coated and cleaned up. So, but if yours are hard, a gentle tap with a rubber hammer shouldn't harm it. It's only a dust cover. Then we put the cover back on, lining it up with the slots. They are a tight fit, so it's best to do it slowly. Again, Gentle tapping with a rubber hammer. Yeah, seat it all the way down. These dead blow hammers are brilliant. They don't mark the plastic if you take time, obviously. And you can do light touch. So that's the fork back together. Now we have to put the oil in it. On the x11, there's an Allen key nut on the top. Generally, you would loosen this off before you take it out of the headstock bearing, before you would take it out of the headstock, because it is quite tight and it's round, so it's hard to hold. But the impact gun has been able to take these out in the past, so I'm hoping I'll be able to take this one out. As you can see, the damper rod is all one piece with a spacer. The spring is only from there. So the easiest way to fill the fork leg is to use a jug. You can push the spacer to one side to give you a gap, or you can push it down the fork leg. The Blackbird and the x11 both have a capacity, nice clean jug, make sure you have a nice clean jug, of 485 milliliters according to the book. And you should really take the top off to do an air gap, but if you've done them numerous times, you know that Honda are very good with this, their sizes and their capacities, but they do over-engineer everything. So whatever's easier for you. I tend to go with the volume, 485 milliliters. This because the can is 500 milliliters, there's a little bit left over, and the Hondas are good anyway. So sorry. Nice red colour. Always try and go for a good make. The same with engine oil. You don't want to go for crap. That's a milliliters. Yeah. A little bit left. Not a lot. And now we feed it in, trying not to get it all over the floor, and lovely. Right, so that's all the oil in. Another problem that I encounter with friends of mine who do their own fork seals is a pogo stick effect, where the front end is very bouncy and they don't understand why. And sometimes this is purely because of air in the damper, because you've drained all the oil out of the damper, you have airlock in it, so it's bouncing up and down, no suspension rebounding at all. So when you rebuild the forks, what you've got to do is to pump the air out of the damper. So as you can see, very springy. You pump it a few times. That's what you want. It's a nice resistance. It goes up and down slowly, are not pogo sticking. And that's bled the damper. So now we can reassemble it and put it on the bike. With a lot of motorcycles today, the cap is aluminium, the fork tube is steel, and it's under spring tension. So you've got to be careful not to cross thread the cap. The way to do this, if you're not a big fat person like me, is to get somebody to help. Hold the tube up as you press down with the ratchet and slowly turn the cap in. You can use your body weight on top to push down and then hold the tube and turn gently. Once you get it started and you know the thread is definitely on, you go back to the gun, that's not a ring, and tighten up with the gun. Make sure you wipe off the excess WD-40, otherwise your MOT inspector will think it's leaking. And there we have a reassembled fork leg, ready to go back on. So we reassemble the front end, we put the fork in, my forks are level with the top yoke. Always make sure they're the same. I like to do them up with an Allen key, just in case the impact end is too vicious. And a ratchet, of course. So that's the one fork in and done. We cleaned the caliper because it had some fork oil in it, which was just mixed in, but enough to contaminate the caliper. You don't want to get on the pads and losing your brakes, so make sure you give them a good clean, even if there's only just a slight bit of residue. When I clean them all off nice.